A few years ago, I saw a picture of Eric on Facebook in Peru. He was praying for a lady, and I admired his heart and compassion for people. His pretty blue eyes were just a bonus. At the age of 14, I knew God was calling me to missions. I went on my first mission trip. Shortly after, I soon turned away from my calling, but always feeling a longing in my heart to go. Seeing Eric's passion inspired me, so I prayed. I specifically prayed that God would send me to Peru or send Eric to me. I honestly never thought God would answer that prayer.
A year before I came back from Peru, God showed me specifically that I was supposed to come back to Elberton. And so once I finally said yes to that, I received so much peace and joy, and He showed me specifically that I was going back not only for what He wanted to do in Elberton, but also for what He wanted to do in my life, and that I was actually going to meet my wife in my hometown. And He even showed me the strategy for it, that I was going to meet her at an altar.
So, last October, I had no idea that on this very night I would meet my future husband. As I'm driving down the road, I remember crying out to God, saying that I didn't know how to love, and how could I know what love is if I've never had it? And I said, I don't know what love is, but God is love, and if I find God, then I'll find love. So I was driving down the road intending to go to this tent revival. I stopped at the stop sign. I had been crying, so I thought I'll just go home because I didn't want people to see me crying. And I turned to go home, stopped by Dunkin' Donuts to get a coffee. As I pulled out of the parking lot, I could take a left to go home or a right to go to the revival. As I turned to go home, I heard God say, "If you go home, you're going to die." And so I decided that I would go to the revival. I don't know if that was spiritual death or physical death, but I went to the revival. As I walked in, I just started crying, and I knew that that's where God wanted me to be. And as the night went on and the altar call happened, I went down to the altar and I just fully surrendered my life, and everything that I had just trailing behind me, I just laid it all down at the cross. And I reminded God too of just my prayers and my promises that I'd made years ago about being a missionary and surrendering my life and just fully submitting to His will for my life. Later that night, I got baptized with the Holy Spirit and then stepped into my calling. As that night came to a close, Eric introduced himself.
So I met her exactly as He told me I would, and she received the exact person that she prayed for, and from there, the adventure began. 2 weeks into our dating, we both received the same dream of how this wedding ceremony today was supposed to go. And that was that lives would be changed, a new standard for marriage would be set, and that lives would really encounter the presence of God at our wedding, that there would be worship, that there would be an altar time, that there would be ministry time, and that God would truly encounter us. Souls saved, lives encountering Him, bodies healed, and marriages restored. So today, on October the 8th, 2016, it's exactly 1 year after the day that we met in the altar. We rejoice with Him, and we rejoice with all of you. So thank you all for joining us in this beautiful celebration of marriage. Marriage is a picture of Christ and the church. May you all be blessed today.